Meri at The.Meri.Atelier. I am coming online today in my little corner with Mrs. Wilkins, my antique dress form. I've named it Mrs. Wilkins off of my high school art teacher, but I'm sitting in front of her today because I need support in what I'm about ready to say, or I need the courage to say what's on my mind. What I'm about to talk about could be very controversial, and it could stir up some conflict. I don't want that, but I want to be able to speak what's on my mind. So for that very reason, I'm turning off the thumbs up and the thumbs down. I don't want it. I'm leaving the comments on. If you don't agree with me on what I'm about to chat about, please very politely tell me. You don't need to drag me through the mud. Just say, Meri, I don't agree with you, and this is why, and I'll listen. I listen to people who don't agree with me. But if you drag me through the mud, you don't have my ear. So that's enough said. I mean, that's human nature. What I want to talk about today is a growing trend that I'm seeing within the art community on YouTube channels, but not only there. I've seen it with some major publishing companies in the art world, maybe not in their publications, not in their written publications so much as in their online newsletters and mostly in their online newsletters. And I get several, so no names. This is not a blame name blame game. This is me discussing something that I'm seeing that I think is very negative, and someone needs to talk about it. And I hope that some of the other people see this. I hope that it causes them to think and think about how we could do things differently. Maybe you're not doing this. Good for you. Yay for you. Leave a link to your channel. I want to go watch. Because you're probably doing some very positive things, and believe me, I surf a lot of channels. I love watching YouTube videos. Kudos to everybody out there who's doing the hard work of producing these. I tell you, you have some of the major TV channels beat. You left them in the dust. I want to talk about giving people credit when you get inspired from their work. And I want to talk first about my own channel. I tried very, very hard when I see something and get inspired by somebody to give them credit, to say, this is who inspired me, and I think this is a really neat idea, and this is where I got it from. Now, I may not do that in every video, but when I introduce a series, I will. A perfect example is my commonplace drawings. Commonplace drawings, hands down, got inspired by Shannon Green. Not that she's doing commonplace drawings, but she had a blog, and I think she left some posts on her Facebook group about commonplace books, and her, I can't even pronounce it, Shannon, Zibabonis, totally inspired me. Not that I do commonplace books in the sense of, well, commonplace books, I never heard of them before Shannon introduced me to them, but they've been around for centuries. But I didn't know that. Iron sharpens iron. But in my introduction to my series on my commonplace drawings, I said, this is who inspired me. And I know more than once people have mentioned my commonplace drawings on other channels, and I point to Shannon Green and say, Shannon Green inspired this. Now, my commonplace drawings are more drawing commonplace objects, and I really don't want to get into that. I want to get into giving credit where credit is due. Another person who's really inspired me, well, actually two, on the urban sketches. I just love urban sketching. But Cathy Johnson. I found Cathy Johnson through her YouTube video, and then later subscribed to her newsletter, and now I'm a part of the Facebook group that she hosts for the Midwest Urban Sketchers. She inspires me. I love it. When I find one of her books, I grab it. When I find one of her books that I can afford, I grab it. One day I went out urban sketching, and I stopped at the thrift store before they opened, and I sketched it was on an urban sketch crawl. And I sketched the window of the thrift store, and then when the store opened, I went in. And lo and behold, I was looking at the books, and there was a book authored by Cathy Johnson. I grabbed it. Cathy Johnson inspired me, hands down. The other person who inspired me with urban sketching has been Jann Gray. Now, I was out doing what I called my art behind the steering wheel, my drive-by paintings. I did not call them urban sketches because I didn't know urban sketch groups existed. I've been in art for years. I should have known, but maybe, you know, sometimes us artists are in our own little worlds doing our thing. But Jann Gray pointed me to the book. I think it was written by a person big in urban sketching worldwide called Mark Holmes. And he wrote a book about urban sketching, and she pointed me to that book, and she introduced me to the term, and I'm going, that's what I'm doing. I'm urban sketching. So now I more frequently refer to my series as urban sketching rather than drive-by paintings. I thought drive-by paintings was a fabulous term myself. But Jann Gray inspired me there. And she inspires me with her card making, and she's big into doing biblical art journaling. That inspires me to no end. Jann Gray inspires me. There are other channels out there who inspire me. Now, Jann Gray and Cathy Johnson and Shannon Green are higher on the rung of the ladder of YouTube success than I am. I look up to those people. And there are other people that I look up to. But I find that the people that I look up to are the people that are, well, to put it politely, do not have their noses in the air. Shannon Green may have her nostril but let me tell you, that gal, when it comes to inspiring people, has her heads down. She notices the people below her. And I can't say that I specifically see instances with the other people, but or can think of them right now. I'm sure they exist. The people that I respect are the people who are giving respect. And that's what I want to talk about, because in our busy life, and even on our YouTube channel, when you're creating videos and you're going huffing and puffing and putting out this and getting this idea and you know, creating all your content, and you're just going at it at such a pace, sometimes we forget that iron sharpens iron. And sometimes you get inspired by people who are a couple rungs down the ladder from you. I can't judge these people, but it bothers me, and I'm just going to call them general publications, because making video is, in a sense, mass communication publication, where I see consistently, or on a not a regular basis, but I've seen it more than once, where the host, the artist, the publisher will draw off of an idea, and it's very obvious where that idea came from, especially if it's a new technique or a technique that hasn't been out there recently. and not give credit to their inspiration. And I use the word hosts and publishers and creators in the plural because I don't want to name names. Names with a capital S on the end. I've seen this happening several different sources, and it bothers me because it's not right. And I think that it needs that trend needs to be challenged because it's a negative trend. And it really bothers me when the host, the creator, the publisher is well known and highly successful. To think that they're out there surfing the internet, getting ideas, not mentioning the source of their inspiration is such a negative, sad trend. And I think it needs to be discussed and challenged. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a part of that. Now, I'm not talking about people, a basic art technique of drawing. You know, drawing is drawing. If somebody draws a Santa Claus and you draw a Santa Claus, that doesn't mean you copied their Santa Claus. You may have traced it, but you may not have too. And there's using art by permission that we as viewers may not see. But I think a mention of that would be a consideration. Even if you don't mention the name, say, I contacted my source of inspiration, they'd rather not be named. Or if you can't remember it, say, I saw this in a YouTube video several months ago, and I've seen this before too, and I think that's positive. I cannot remember where I saw it. I lost track of the video. And in fact, I think this is something that I'm going to start. You challenge me as your viewer for me to start this series. I think I'm going to start this series. And I have an idea in my mind, a new series. Hey, I might as well. I'm into starting series. But I think I'm going to start a series and saying, I saw this technique and I think it's a really neat technique. And I'm going to name the place that I saw it. If I try it, I'm going to say, this is where I saw it and this is where. And as I'm even discussing this with you, let me tell you where I got this idea. Not so long ago, probably about a month or so ago, and I'll try to put a link to her video. I believe it was DCScrappinRooster. And I can't name the video right offhand, but I do know it's on her channel. And I know when I saw it, I said, that's a great idea. That is a great idea. She had a free weekend, and she made it an art weekend. And I think this is DCScrappinRooster who did this. She made an art weekend, and she drew inspiration from different channels, and she tried that technique. And she showed it was a 2-part series. She showed in there where she did it, but she credited the people where she was inspired from. That is what I want to do. When you do that, no matter whether you're mid-level on your journey, or if you're higher, or even if you're lower, you are pulling another person up. Maybe if that person is higher, you might be pulling them down, but I doubt it because you're giving credit to somebody. You're giving credit to somebody who had an idea and you thought that was a fabulous idea. You don't have to directly copy their idea. And you can say, this is how I changed it. This is what inspired me, and I built on it this way. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I see as a trend and what's troubling me, it's not causing a big conflict in my life, but I think it needs to be discussed. What's troubling me is I see this trend as in our rush to do things that we forget to mention other people who've inspired us. We forget that we can so encourage somebody else. You may be a biggie channel or a big publisher, and you were out surfing the internet and you saw this really neat YouTube video and you drew inspiration off of it, but you left the creator down here. You didn't help them in their journey up on their own art journey. Especially if you're a big channel. You have so much influence. If I ever get there, I consider myself, well, I'm not even at 3,000 subscribers, so I suppose, you know, in the scheme of things, I'm not a big channel. But if I ever get to 50,000, even if I even get to 10,000, even if I get to 5,000, even if I get to 3,000 subscribers, I want to pull people up. I want to mention them. I want to say, what a great idea. And that's why I've done a couple videos on this, and I'm going to emphasize it again here. When I give thumbs up, I never give a thumbs down. If you see a thumbs down on a video, it's not from me. And if it is from me, if I realize, I've done it a couple times by mistake, and I blame YouTube for this, because if they insist on having a thumbs up and a thumbs down, like this, they should put one on one side of the video and one on the other side. Then people can't come with the excuse that, oh, I goofed. Now, I think that there are legitimate excuses, because those thumbs are pretty close together, and, you know, sometimes when you're working off of a small screen, you can accidentally give a thumbs down. But it's happened to me twice. Shannon Green and Miss Lady Petals. And when I realized it happened, and I wasn't savvy enough at that time that I knew how to remove it, I commented to both of them. I said, that thumbs down that you saw, one of those came from me, and it was a mistake. I commented so that they knew that I goofed. And both of them commented back and said they understood, and they were very nice about it. Since then, I've learned that those can be removed, you know, but at that time I was new to YouTube. I didn't know, you know, and I imagine that's like a lot of people, but there are too many thumbs downs on some channels to where, you know, it's not a mistake. YouTube could put one on each side of the video, so if you give a thumbs down, people know that you, if they insist, I think they should take this thumbs down. It's just doing nobody no good except for the bullies or the people who make mistakes. Because it's not doing the creator any good, because they're not telling the creator what they disliked about the video. I can take criticism, I can take negative criticism, and if you do it politely, if you disagree with me, leave a comment, a polite comment. I listen to constructive criticism that's presented politely. But if you're going to plow into me, you know, you've turned me off right away, and if you're on YouTube, I'll probably block you. Well, I probably won't block you right away. If you consistently do it, then, you know, you're in danger of getting on my bad side on my channel, which normally anybody would do. I've had a couple people leave comments. One of the biggest criticisms I get on my channel is about the fast forwarding, and I've thought about it several times, and contrary to what this blog is going to be, it's going to be a longer video. I try to keep my videos short because those are the videos that get watched. And I think that that is a true thing. Unless you really are friends with somebody or really, really like them, or you have a lot of time during your morning while you're creating something else, you want to go listen to somebody for 3 hours. Now, I will. Ustream videos are different. Ustream videos, you know that you're watching a Ustream video, and you know that that person is out there presenting a show, so to speak. It's a Ustream. But most YouTube videos, most people want something short, sweet, and snappy, except for maybe the blogs, vlogs. Kind of got off onto a rabbit trail there. I want to talk about pulling people up. I want to say on the thumbs up and the thumbs down, if you want to know who I'm watching, who I like, I give a lot of thumbs up. And I don't do it without thinking about it. There are some videos that I don't give thumbs up for, but that doesn't mean I don't like them. It just means that right now I'm not going to give it a thumbs up, but I'll go visit that channel again. But if you want to know who I like, if you want to know who I'm watching, I encourage you to go watch my like videos playlist. It's a way to pull people up. It's a way to point to other channels. That's what a big part of what YouTube is. When you're a big channel and you're getting all these sponsors and, you know, publishing companies and manufacturers coming at you, and you're growing and you're all enthused and yay, everybody's saying all sorts of good things about you and gung-ho, and if anybody says something in disagreement, they'll pound them down because don't you dare disagree with my favorite YouTube channel. Whoa, where did that come from, Mary? If you're that big, don't put your nose, I can't even tilt my head that high. Don't put your nose up in the air. Look down. Who inspired you? Maybe it was a high school art teacher. And I'm not saying you have to mention your high school art teacher every time. But maybe it was another channel. Are you giving them credit? Have you contacted them? Even if you haven't contacted them, I don't contact every person that I link to. But I link to them. I say, this is where I got my idea. Or I'll verbally mention it in my YouTube video. I've had this happen to me several times recently, and I think it's a growing trend, and I don't think it's intentional. I sincerely don't think it's intentional. I compare it to our freeways. Our freeways, people get out on those interstates, and I'll tell you, speed zone is 65 miles an hour, but you try going 65 out in the country with a heavy traffic area, you're left in the dust. It's almost civil disobedience. It's breaking the law by majority. Am I guilty of it? In some instances, I have to say yes. I've only been caught once. I'll tell you about that another time. But thank God this patrolman caught me, because I might have killed myself or killed somebody else on the interstate. Are you catching people? I'm not saying to go out and be a policeman of the internet. I'm saying, look at your own channel. Look at who you're viewing. I lose my respect for the big channels and the big publishing companies. And I tell you, right offhand, I have unsubscribed to some hard copy magazine publications because I saw this happening. I lost my respect. I lose my respect when I see it happening on YouTube on a channel more than once. I lose my respect. If you're that big, or even if you're small, no matter what you are, you're not so good that you can't give credit to somebody. It's the right thing to do. Don't speed down the internet at 90 miles an hour, at 80 miles an hour in a 65-mile-an-hour zone just because everybody else is doing it. It's a negative trend. And I'm not saying that you have to give credit in every video, but do, when you come across something that you're sharing as a new technique, you say, this is a tip that I found. I'm sitting there, oh yeah, where did you find that one? I saw that 5 days ago on my friend's channel. And believe me, I'm not naming names. I've seen this on more than one channel. I've had it happen to me personally. I try not to do it. If you disagree with me, leave a polite comment and I'll talk to you about it. If you agree with me, I'll read your comment any day of the week. Now, with all that said, that's really what I wanted to express Let's change it. Let's build each other up. Let's pull people along on their art journey. Let's encourage them, especially if you're way above them. You should be pulling people up. You should be encouraging. And I think most legitimate creators who are presenting videos, how-to tips and tutorials and all of this, I think they really want to. But I think in their enthusiasm, sometimes they forget where they get their ideas. Make a list. If you see something really cool and you're going to present a video on it, even if that other person the idea wasn't original to them, say, I saw this on this channel. If you can't remember where you saw it, but you still have the great idea, say, I saw this someplace. I know I saw it someplace, but I can't remember who. Say so. Because, you know, that if I were watching that, I'd say, well, let me tell you about a video that I created 6 months ago. Was this possibly the one you've seen? Makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think. What do you want to be? I want to be respected. I want to do things the right way that people will respect me. Because believe me, no matter how big you are, take a lesson from some of the really biggies in our publishing world. No matter how successful you are, people are watching. People will soon learn if you start not trampling on them, but borrowing and feel like you're justified in borrowing. That's what's bothering me. We're justifying it. It's not right. It's not right. That's why we have copyright law. That's why we have trademark law. That's why we have patent law. It's not right. It's just not right. Let me know what you think. Now, with all that said, I do want to end this on a positive note. Memorial Day weekend is coming up. It's getting past noon here. I want to go out and do some urban sketching. I am so enthused about doing these urban sketches. I have some more giveaways coming up. I'm so thrilled to do them. I think I'm going to do about 2 a week. They're not all going to be urban sketches. And for the people that win these, and you get it and you look at them, remember that these urban sketches are sketches. They're not paintings. They're not something that I spent hours and hours and hours and days and weeks on. They're a sketch. They're a drawing. They're done while I'm on the go, so to speak. So they're going to be sketchy. They're not going to be, you're going to see things in them. You're like, well, you know. But on the other hand, I've received nothing but good compliments on them, and I'm just so happy to share them in giveaways. I have so much fun doing them. So have a good Memorial Day weekend, and I'm going to go out and do some urban sketching. If I could take Mrs. Wilkins with me, I would. She could be my backup. We'd have a great time, believe me. And that's what I wish for you. I will see you on the next page.